Hello everyone, welcome to the What's Freshmore segment. We will try to debunk the myths and hopefully give you a better understanding. Hi, I'm Corina Chung, Senior Director for Marketing and Communications at SUTD. So without further ado, let's dive into trying to let you understand what's Freshmore. And today we have Professor Pei Kin Leong, Associate Provost for Undergraduate Studies and the SUTD Academy to answer that question. So Kin Leong, what's Freshmore?
Freshmore, in fact, is a combination of freshman plus sophomore first term. So we call it Freshmore. It's a 3-term broad-based foundation curriculum that all students must take. So you equip students with all the technical foundation and related knowledge for their pursuit of their pillar or specialization study. And more importantly, students will study science, mathematics, humanity and social science, design thinking, as well as, I would say, digital literacy. That is about Freshmore. And more importantly, a student will study within a cohort-based setting, which is quite unique, meaning 50 students will sit in a class with 2 to 3 instructors.
Right, so Kin Leong have already explained that it is a very tight-knitted community and small class size with 3 instructors. Oh, that's better than nursery class. So what does it mean to the student, okay, with this kind of experience? Maybe we start with Adele and followed by Benjamin.
Hey, hi, I'm Adele. I'm a Freshmore student. So for me, Freshmore is all about risk-taking and exploration. So the first term is coined affectionately by the students as pass-fail term, because not because like we slack off, but because we are given the opportunity and time to explore a lot of the different fifth rows that are available for us. Additionally, it acts as a foundation. It acts as a foundation for people who may not have had such a strong background in mathematics or sciences because they didn't do it in pre-college. Yeah. So additionally, it also acts as a foundation for risk-taking. The lack of time for the lack of pressure from grades allows us to explore and really push yourselves to the limits with every project that you are given, and that risk-taking attitude really pushes past term 1.
Ben?
Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin. So for me, Freshmore is a very good time to build up your foundation for your upper pillar years. Because I did not take physics when I was in junior college, and I also had to serve national service, so I had been out of the education system for 2 years. This means that I needed some time to slowly build up my momentum to get back into studying. And I felt that Freshmore is a really good time to do that, because as Adele mentioned earlier, all our subjects are pass-fail. So you can focus on really understanding the concepts instead of stressing about your grades. And that's what I really like about Freshmore.
All right, so as Kin Leong mentioned, Freshmore is very much about exploration and application into what the world needs, okay? So maybe we can hear some examples from the students. What does the Freshmore courses enable you to link to real-world problems?
Maybe I'll go first. Okay, so for us, there has recently been a new module. So it's called Science for Sustainable World. And a lot of us initially thought that it was just a pure chemistry course. But it's a lot more than that. Science for Sustainable World helps us create links. So let me raise an example. Maybe a lot of you are learning about intermolecular forces of attraction now for your grades. Separately, you might have seen an article from Instagram or an article from Science Direct that tells you about the problems of plastic pollution on marine life or on the environment. However, what our profs does for us, what the course does for us is that it teaches us that intermolecular forces of attraction is extremely crucial to our ability to recycle plastic. Because plastic covers such a diverse range of bonds, it makes it extremely difficult to recycle, and that's something that we learn. our profs also never fail to mention that these are problems, and so we can't just take them as problems, they are opportunities. How might we create a solution, and how might we use this opportunity for whatever future project we are pursuing?
Yeah, so that sounds really like a beginning of the journey to understand the problems of the world and then start developing solutions for this, right? So plasticity, climate change are really our generation's problems. Let's hear from Ben.
Hello. So I'm currently in my term 2, and one of the subjects that I'm taking is called Modeling Space and Systems. And in this module, it's essentially a mathematics module, but recently we completed something called a 1D design project, where we tried to build mathematical models. For example, in order to predict where's the best area to build a residential area, we had to create a mathematical model to take into account metrics like air pollution or travel time to workplace. And building mathematical models is something that is quite widely used by engineers in the working world when they want to make predictions. So it's true, what we are doing is actually a simplified version of what engineers really do. But what I personally like about this is that it encourages us to think, what's the significance of mathematics in real life? So instead of thinking of them as like we are being given random numbers and figures, we can actually understand, okay, if I have this particular number, so what does it mean, and what is the significance of this number? So that's what I really like about Freshmore term, and how our subjects try to ground whatever things that we are learning to solve a real-world problem.
Right, so first year is only the beginning of the journey, and therefore, after the Freshmore year of exploration, students can then choose their specialization in terms of which degree program they want to specialize in. So maybe I can hear from the students, how does the Freshmore year benefit you in terms of preparation for choosing your majors?
I'll go first. So for me, relative to my friends in other universities, where they have to go straight into the curriculum, they don't really have a lot of opportunity to explore these things, explore how their subject affects real life, or how their projects will eventually lead to their academics because of the nature of their syllabus. So if I were to raise an example, my friends in engineering currently don't have a program where they can do applied engineering. Their courses might be doing mathematics and physics as well, but they don't have an integrated 1D or an integrated 2D that we have, where we are able to directly try the project and build it based off the knowledge that we currently have, which is extremely encouraged and is something that we do twice a term.
Okay, for me, I would like to share a slightly different perspective. So I think besides the academic side, I think SUTD's culture itself, like the student body, really helps a lot in helping you decide what you want to specialize in. So I'm sure most of you already know, SUTD has a smaller cohort size compared to other universities. And in your first year, because you all have common classes and a compulsory hostel stay, you'll definitely get to interact with most of the people in your cohort. And based on personal experience, I think SUTD's student body is pretty diverse. I know people who are starting their own startups, and I have a classmate who used to mentor esports teams in the US. So personally, right now, I'm doing 2 part-time internships with 2 different startups. And why I'm doing this is, one of the main reasons is when I see all my friends exploring new ground, I myself also feel very encouraged to try out new things. And I think when you trying out new things is really important because it encourages you to step out of your comfort zone, you get more exposure, and you can better decide what is it that you really want to specialize in.
Fantastic. So we talk about the Freshmore year, and then after that, we go into the choice of whichever degree program you want to choose. So maybe we can ask Prof. Pei, how does the design experience navigate themselves from first year all the way up to the pillar years?
At SUTD, when we structured the undergraduate program, we deliberately make design thinking project right at the beginning of the undergraduate education. So what it means is that right from term 1 of the Freshmore, students will be given opportunity to do design thinking-led project. And this is embedded into all, I would say, courses and through a term called Design Net. Design Nets are, I would say, small interdisciplinary design challenge built into, we call a class, a subject, or across a few subjects. And more importantly, starting this year, we specially design every term in Freshmore has a general term, a theme for the design project. Could be focusing on world issue like climate change, sustainability, growth area. I think it's through all these interdisciplinary design project, whether it's 1D, 2D, students will have a very good exposure about how to use design-led thinking process to solve a real-world issue, a problem that they are very interested in. And this is really embracing our tagline called Design for a Better World.
Thank you, Prof. Bey. So this is exactly like what our president shared in the earlier session, where design is actually the pinnacle of all the interdisciplinary subjects that you take. So they are not taken in silo, but actually applied to solving real-world problems. And it's very interesting that this year, the Freshmore year, they're looking at disaster relief. How do we send medicine to areas that have experienced disaster by calculating the payload, the medicine required, the wind factor, and also mapping out where are the relief areas. So in adding all of these up, right, all the physics, mathematics, wind factor, data analytics, and AI all comes into play. So to me, I think it's fascinating. And maybe one last question before we move to the Q&A. So how does having a Freshmore class, your own dedicated cohort class, your 50 pals that are in the class with you the whole year, owning a cohort classroom all to yourself with 2 3D printers to yourselves, affect your learning experience?
For us, we are actually in the same class, so it creates a very, very safe space for everybody involved, and it really pushes us academically. So you can imagine that there are people who are better at specific things. So I have classmates who are physics Olympians, and then another one who is extremely good at math. And one might not be as good as the other in specific subjects, but they are able to help each other and push each other along. Having people to compare your homework to, talk about homework answers to, talk about the problems that you face in class to, really helps to bring the entire experience together. It really helps to set your foundations right. And just having friends and people that you can trust around makes it easier to do risk-taking in terms of design, in terms of, specifically in design.
I think one of the biggest benefits of having a Freshmore class is the kind of motivation you get. So for your Freshmore class, you'll be with them for all the subjects that you are studying. And on top of that, in your hostel stay, usually your floor mates are also your classmates. So naturally, by spending so much time with them, you will already quite naturally build a bond with these classmates. And when you get really close to your classmates, you will start sharing things with them. And this helps to motivate each other when you see what your different classmates are doing. So for example, Adele, she is very active in her fifth rows. And when I see the work she's doing, like in the areas of like music or like media and productions, I find it really, really interesting. And I also feel quite inspired. And personally, I'm quite busy outside helping the startups to design equipment. And when I have someone to share with, like what I'm doing, I feel quite motivated as well because I would think, oh, I want to do even more so that I have more things to share with my friends. And I think that's very powerful.
Certainly. So in SUTD, 1/3 of the students perform, whether they dance, they sing, they do bands, you know. So we have no problems mounting a full-fledged concert all by ourselves. So it's really fascinating to hear about all your experiences. Maybe we can move on now to the Q&As. So what questions do the students have online? Does our performance in Freshmore affect our choice of pillar? Do we have to meet prerequisites in the Freshmore period? If we do not meet them, will it affect our chance of getting into our selected pillar? Okay, this is a question for Prof. Pei. Go ahead, Prof. Pei.
Well, I'm very happy to let you know we only give you one choice, and that's a choice you are very interested in to pursue your major in your pillar. So meaning that you just need to let us know what you want to pursue, we will allocate the choice to you. We haven't seen a situation where all the students want to do particular pillar like ASD or computer science. We haven't seen that. So the answer to you is that yes, you will be given the preferred choice. Whether there are prerequisites, we felt that a few subjects in the Freshmore term are foundation building block for the pillar year pursuit. So all students have to, I would say, clear or pass mathematics and physics plus the course called Introduction to Design and Thinking. But not to worry if you think that you have concern, but like what the student just mentioned, among the peer, they will co-teach, co-share, co-learn from each other. And more importantly, you also have a scheme called boot camp. Boot camp is a 2-week, I would say, pretty intensive learning experience. Should a student couldn't meet the mark of a C grade for math or physics, that's after term 1 or term 2, we will help them to elevate to a grade of C. So there are a lot of opportunity and avenue to, I would say, help the student to meet all the requirements. And whether you affect the pillar of choice, I think I already answered that. Regardless of your Freshmore performance, you are given only one choice. There's a choice that you selected and want to pursue the interest in your pillar, which is your major.
Excellent. So that means you are guaranteed your choice of pillar that you want to choose. Another point which I wanted students to share is how the faculty works with them in interacting during and off classes. Yeah, Ben?
Okay. So I think the SUTD faculty are generally very open and they are very easy to approach. So just to tie in into the question about choosing pillars, which was answered earlier, for me, when I was in my term 1, I was thinking of specializing in EPD, but I wanted to find out more about the track. So I could simply send a cold email to the EPD head, Prof. Chua Chi Kai, and just like that, he took time off from his own busy schedule, as well as 2 other course leads, so that they could spend a 1-hour Zoom meeting with me to explain to me more about what the EPD pillar is about, as well as what I can expect to get out of it. So I think during off hours, it's very easy to approach the SUTD faculty, and it doesn't even have to be the faculty members who are teaching you directly. It can be someone who you've never even met before, or you don't even know how they look.
Adele?
I guess my experiences are slightly different. My experiences with faculty outside of class hours are generally for consultations because of my grades or because I want to approach them about a research project that they have. So there are Europes in our school, UROPs, those are research opportunities. All of our profs have researchers, and so if you are interested in any of the research that our profs do, it's very easy to just email them and ask them about it, and there's a very high chance that they will allow you to be a research underling with them because of the nature of the faculty to student ratio, as well as because they are interested to help you further this interest in the area that they specialize and interest in.
Right, thank you. Yeah, the other thing I've seen is because faculty live on campus, they also give impromptu consultation and tuition when they meet students, whether in class or outside of them. So, question will go, how much do students have not taken science and physics in secondary school struggle in grasping the concepts of physics-intensive models? Kin Leong, maybe you want to share?
Sure. I think these topics, not just physics, it could be biology and chemistry, because we also put emphasis on other science subjects. So what I would say is that the cohort-based environment will create an atmosphere so that you would study this with a peer-to-peer learning, active learning, in a more, I would say, interesting way, rather than individual study. It's a more collaborative study. And more importantly, like term one, I think the student just mentioned, is a pass, no record. So that also release the pressure for students who initially may have some coping issue or issue in understanding difficult topics. And more importantly, as I mentioned, there are a lot of mentorship sessions. One of the students just mentioned that she can easily consult faculty or TA. And at the end of the day, if you still have problem trying to cope with the subject, we have a boot camp, 2 weeks, end of the term, for you to refresh your difficult topic, and hopefully from then you can pursue the subsequent term further. So I think it's a total, I would say, ecosystem, holistic approach, make the study of subject that you're not very familiar with to be more fun, to be more interesting for you to pursue. So I would think that so far, based on our past 10-year experience, all the students are really, I would say, enjoying learning math and physics, chemistry, biology in a holistic way. So I will encourage students who are still some doubt, could be talk to maybe our mission colleagues or myself, just to find out more information how we provide infrastructure or supporting system to embrace your study at SUTD in these topics.
Thanks, Kin Leong. So Benjamin here is a classic example, right? You took physics only in secondary school?
Yeah, I only took
share your
physics.
story.
So for me, I only took physics in secondary school. I didn't take it in JC because I had a pretty special subject combination. So anyway, personally, I struggled quite a lot with physics at the start because it seemed like a very different concept compared to the other subjects I studied. But what I really like is the availability of support. So like what Adele mentioned earlier, we have classmates who are better in certain subjects. And I have my desk mate, he is really good in physics. So it's very easy for me to approach him to help explain concepts to me. And because I'm stronger in chemistry, so I can help him with that. And on top of this, in all our classes, there's usually 2 faculty members and 1 teaching assistant. So during our lessons, how it works is there'll be 1 prof who will be in front of the class who is lecturing, and then the other prof and the teaching assistant will be walking around and helping students. So even if you are unable to keep up with the prof who's doing the main lecture, it's very easy to approach the teaching assistant or the other professor to help you individually with a one-to-one. That's what I have been doing for most of my lessons, and I felt that it really helped me to cope with physics despite not having the background in it.
Yeah, so actually another interesting learning experience is actually being hands-on. So I have seen professors demonstrate the physics concepts, the bio concept with real-life models real demonstrations that, you know, that they wheel into the cohort class and ta-da, you know, it really brings the very hard theory to life. So personally, I have been very impressed. Yeah. So next question. How is design built in SUTD's education starting from day one in Freshmore? So Kin Leong, you want to further elaborate on that?
Well, I think I mentioned briefly just now in my conversation with you. So we actually have a signature course called Design Thinking and Innovation. My colleague Orlando, he's a champion on that. And we are very proud of that because that is the first course officially teaching the student how to use design-led creative thinking and innovation to apply to projects-based solving problems. So I would say that despite that you may not have the right background in any project-based learning or solving as well as design, don't worry, we will give you all the necessary, I would say, education. Term 1, we keep it actually very open. We don't really teach you specifically how to do design thinking project, but in Term 2, we will start to expose you in a very structured way. And more importantly, I just mentioned that every design project will be embedded into a subject like math, physics, chemistry, biology, which is called Science for Sustainable World. And more importantly, in order for students to cross-link all the knowledge they learn, we have 2D interdisciplinary design project, try to actually embed, integrated into Term 1, Term 2, Term 3 subject. So students will have all the opportunity to do even more than 10 design projects within the first 3 terms. That's how exciting this institution is. And beyond that, students will learn all the upper year design thinking skill in their own domain area. Could be architecture, engineering, product design, system design, and ISTD design.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for your attention on Freshmore. To sum it up, it is basically a year of exploration for you with no stress in terms of having just to pass or no record your subject, but enable you to know yourself, whether it's after NS or after JC or Poly, to enable you to really start on the journey to make an impact with your lives. So thank you very much, everyone. Next up will be the design journey by Alindo. Do stay on. Thank you.